Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 105 of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Geoff, and I'm rocking it Tigre Uno today. That doesn't make sense. I'm rocking it solo today. Max is on assignment. I think he's on the quest to find Iceman. I'm not sure. But either way, we got a jam-packed show for you. I know the chat's going to light up. There's a lot to talk about. We are on the road to Bound for Glory. And there's a little pep in my step. I'm excited. I was a little nervous at first. Didn't know who was going and all that. But a great crew seems to be going and is welcoming, which is bringing my anxiety levels down, my excitement levels up. But first and foremost, shout out and thank you to the one and only true legend of the Knockouts division. Probably the Knockout, right? Arguably. Gail Kim for that cool intro. And then shout out for Io for securing it, man. What a great team here, man. All positivity. Can't even say that's how much there is, right? Sense. All right, guys. I'm going to get off track. But there's a couple things I want to go over before we get into the episode. One, of course, we have a great team here. As I said, I mentioned Io there. I guess hosted perfect timing there for GoGoPowerRankings this previous Tuesday. Datila will be back. She's the voiceover for the Power Rankings you're about to see. But make sure you go check them out on Tuesdays, GoGoPowerRankings. And, of course, our brothers from across the pond. It is Craig and Nixon. Killing it every Thursday. You can see episode 35 up there right now from them. Hey, Datila, speak of the devil. There she is. Welcome back from vacation. You'll hear her voice, as I just said. But I want to say thank you guys for coming out. And hey, Io in there as well. What's going on? That's true. Yes, that's another great point, Io, right there. So, as you can see behind me, Millard, what is up? Everyone rolling in here. You can see behind me the first reveal. I was excited when I got my tickets to Bound for Glory Albany. And my first almost done painting sign for the shows is the Trey Miguel right behind me, the Spider Venom Trey. I try to incorporate all of them, so I'm going to reveal an episode up until Bound for Glory, as well as the intros, as I said, that Io secured, man. We got some great Impact roster members doing them, so you'll get one every week until Bound for Glory, as I said. So little things there to look out for us, whatever. It's been a long day, guys, but we're going to have some fun, including talking about some roster updates, some action figures. It seems to be an expansion when it comes to India, and, of course, answering all your guys' great questions and comments. All right, shout out to the numbers real quick. You guys are cranking. I would love to get to 4,000 there. Io does a killer job on Twitter. I'd love to get to 4,000. Bound for Glory might be too soon, but hey, it's a goal, right? Same when subs on right here on YouTube. Please follow, subscribe, all that jazz. We're at 325. 350 is a cool number. We're going to slowly grow. We got more shows coming on, expanding our universe, hopefully with some new friends as well. And the show's cracking 100 per usual. We love you guys. We thank you. One fan at a time, one friend at a time. We always say that from the get, and I mean that now. And as well, when it comes to Impact Wrestling, this is my new Impact Wrestling thing, by the way. If someone tells you, what do you watch wrestling? I watch Impact Wrestling. That's what I watch. So even if you don't like the voice you're hearing today, I'll say the same thing. I don't know, who to point out, but there's tons of different groups out there that do great Impact shows. Check them out, and they all deserve a watch. As long as you're supporting Impact, that's what it's about. And once again, if you're going to Bound for Glory, hit me up. I'll start a chat before, try to meet up with everybody. I love to do that, especially when I'm going solo to that as well. But before we go any further, let's get to your power rankings. Let's see who made the top 10 here. Did all the champions make it? I feel like we got a new number one. Let's go. Let's see.
Number 10, Rich Swann. Number 9, Time Machine. Number 8, Bullet Club's Chris Bay. Number 7, DK and Company. Number 6, Killer Kelly. Number 5, World Champion Jordan Grace. Number 4, Tag Team Champions Vex. Number 3, World Champion Josh Alexander. Number 2, Honor No More's Eddie Edwards. Number 1, X Division Champion Mike Bailey.
All right, what'd you guys think of the top 10? I won't go too deep into it. Obviously, you could catch Bert and Datila's opinion this Tuesday at 7 p.m., EST, and what is that for PST? Math at 4 p.m.? Yeah, something like that. All right, guys. But yeah, I don't know, man. Here's a couple things I want to say about the power rankings that I will get to. Mason is a new addition. Really great insight on his top 10. Very detailed. We respect that and appreciate it. So thank you for coming onto the rankings committee. If you're interested, thank you, Datila. 4 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. EST. Always a helping hand. Yeah, so thank you to Mason for joining. If you guys are interested in joining the Power Rankings committee as well, making a difference, because it really does come down to a single vote. I mean, there are people that made 11, 12, 13, 14 that are in double-digit votes. So every vote does count. All you have to do is write at Burt Macklin 11 on Twitter or at TNAIW channel, and we'll get you all set up. Easy peasy. You don't have to hang out and hear a bunch of nonsense. You just put your vote in from Thursday to Sunday, somewhere in there. We make the video, and that's all you do. All right, but let's see how we got there, right? Let's see how we got there. Let's get into our Impact on Access TV review board. What'd you guys think? Let me hear in the chat. As Datila says, Bert and her have a lot to discuss tomorrow on the show for Tuesday's GoGo Power Rankings. Yeah, I think this was a episode where you could have made a play for a lot of different wrestlers being on that top 10. I thought the show did a great job of utilizing everybody. I think it was a little coasting. I keep saying that. Still a great show. Once again, coasting for Impact. It's a lot better than some other shows I've watched in the past. But that creative, that meat, right? We're going to get to, I know we're getting to Bound for Glory. We got more tapings coming up. But let's see what you guys thought as well. Let's start off with BTI, Iceman Intel. This one was about Deonna wanting to be champ again. Obviously, she's in Vexed. Looks, no spoilers. We are spoiler-free show. But it looks like she will be getting an opportunity maybe to go to Bound for Glory. So she has the opportunity there. I'm guessing that's what this alludes to. Next up, Giselle Shaw picking up the win over Rosemary. I like this. I know we'll get to the Tenille stuff later during Hot Topics. But with Giselle kind of the influence thing being done, especially with Madison being gone first, it's nice to see she still has momentum here and is rocking it. Saw the pictures with Johnny Bravo. I kind of dig it, man. Kind of dig it. Let's see. But I thought it was a good win here. Once again, she's Rosemary, man. It doesn't, hey, Lucha in the building. It doesn't matter what Rosemary gets in the win or loss column. It doesn't even matter how she wins or loses. It just, she's an over character, doesn't matter. And we'll get to her in a little bit of what that next venture for her might look like. But this was more about Giselle, and it helped there. And also did push the narrative of Rosemary's character. In a second, sorry, my nose rings loose. Next up, we're going right into Impact on Access TV. We're going right into this banger of a match that might have X Division implications. We'll see. But Black Taurus picks up the win here over Trey, Laredo Kid, and Ray Horus, which is nice to see sticking around. Is it just for the tapings? Is it permanent? I know we'll talk about Bandito as well, obviously, later in this, but also in Hot Topics. Let's see how long they stick around for. I would not be upset by it whatsoever, because I thought, I started off saying this was my match of the night. First of all, Giselle and Rosemary was first match, right? Then the next one and the next one. It just felt like it kept going up and up. yeah, man, this was a good one. Really loved Crazy Steve being on commentary. We'll talk about depth charts, maybe a little more detailed next week. I was going to try to hit him this week, but I kind of want Max to be around for him, and we could jump into the old Impact Zone. And we're bound due for one of those, but even if Decay is kind of, even Steve said it, all over the place, dealing with different things, Jessica, Ragnarok, the tag titles. Decay, Black Taurus, and Crazy Steve aren't in the tag title picture per se, right? It's not that division's thin, it's just they're all kind of doing different things, and if we were to put priority into developing, I think we could. But right now, even Crazy Stevie's like, I'm leading Taurus into battle. I dug it, man. It was cool to get Crazy Steve on commentary. I think he's a unique character. And more of that, man. More, and I said it a little bit ago about it coasting. Coasting might be the wrong term, but it feels like there's no that Impact creative. You know what I'm talking about? That little extra layer of TV. So it was cool to hear this because Steve does that just with his words, which I dig. Of course, with the awesome commentating team. But next up, you had a vignette or kind of a recap, of Killer Kelly. I see him Lord in there talking about the ratings. We'll talk about that. I wish they would count every platform. That's what we'll talk about and why they don't bother me. I say it all the time, but hey, Gary in the building. What's going on, buddy? So we're talking about Killer Kelly. Of course, the old pervs are in the back watching it. Swinger and what looks to be James Franco in that, Spring Breakers movie. Zicky Dice is there, and they're admiring Killer Kelly's product, right? Tasha and Savannah enter picture. I love this, once again, overlaying storylines and getting people involved that maybe would just have been sitting in the back. Dig it. Makes everybody relevant. Loved how Tasha and Savannah were presented here throughout this whole thing. Kelly comes in and she says things. Love Killer Kelly. I don't know if promo is in the, we'll see where it goes, right? The character first, what she does in the ring, the look, everything. She's got the whole package. Let's see in a different segment how she could cut a promo or not. But she has a lot of things that will carry her past that for now. But I thought this was cool, man. Once again, continuing the storyline with Tasha, and then it leads to Savannah and Killer Kelly later on in the night. From there, we go to Josh and Rich talking, and Josh, Kinky Kelly. Is that a Clerks 2 reference? Is that what a Kinky Kelly? You had Josh and Rich in the back, and again, they're talking about how much they love each other and respect each other, and Josh and Rich, and I'm the champion, and I'll defend against anybody, but I would like if it's Rich. So maybe we'll get a match there sooner rather than later. Obviously, that's not the goal for Bound for Glory at the moment. But Vincent enters the picture here, and Rich Swann, the hell he doesn't know what Vincent's talking about, but he goes on talking about Josh needs some friends. Interesting there. I told you guys last week and the week before that I wasn't super stoked about Eddie versus Josh because there'd be 7 weeks of Honor No More attacking Josh or whatever. Now, we have the main event set. We'll get to that. I won't get too far ahead of myself. I'm excited to see the build now. I got to get past that because, hey, no matter what I want or not, that is what we have. So now let's see if Impact, which they often do, proves us wrong and pushes us with a dope-ass storyline heading to this. Do we get some help for Josh? In what form? Is there something bigger at play here? We'll talk about it. But Vincent putting into his head that he needs some help. Next up was Heath defeating Kenny King. It's hard to go against my guy Kenny King. He's getting beat here by Heath, continuing that storyline. Look, I continuously say this every time I talk about Heath because I think it's unfair to just judge based on what he's getting now. Before the injury, man, he was proving people wrong left and right. There was momentum, and unfortunately there was a long injury. He's getting back in the groove of things. His contract gets rolled over, extended, whatever it was that he said. So he's here. So he's got to make the best of his time here now. If that's the long-term goal, cool, even better. I think he's a valuable player. I say you don't keep a job with a company that high profile for that long if you can't do what's needed to get yourself over or somebody over. And that's the praise I give Heath, man. He's a professional. He's entertaining. Is it the top storyline for me? No. Is it very reminiscent? T. Hughes, 1990. What's up, buddy? It's very reminiscent of DDP, TNA. Yeah, kind of. But it's something, man. And it does get the crowd behind him, which is not a bad place to be. Especially in there, man. You need some things to get the crowd up when maybe some of the people aren't familiar with the product. And Heath's a familiar name. Honor No More Attacks. I really dug this, man. I said for Heath it was years of karma. For Nexus, this is his final payback here. But he gets to escape here. I thought this was a little weird of a segment just because I loved how they surrounded it. But the time of, oh, is he gonna? And the crowd gave no shits. So it was just like a really weird thing. I thought we were past the PCO. Is he, isn't he? I know they mentioned that on commentary as well. I hope we are. If you're going to kick him out, let's kick him out, man. Let's not keep bringing this up. Like, you want to know what happened out there? They'll talk about that in the next in segment 8 here. What happened out there? What happened? It's Eddie Edwards' shitty leadership. Stop yelling at PCO all the time, and maybe he'll do your shit for you. But anyways, Heath escapes there after getting his move on Bennett, I believe it was. Next up was a really cool presentation. I thought the Motor City Time Splitter's name was the Drizzlin' Shits. Too much. Kushita's not from Motor City, obviously. Time Machine is cool. They are all respectable and over enough to have such just a Time Machine name. Dug it. I dug what each of them said. And I love the group. They're going against VBD this week. Should be a good match. And what I like about this is not only does that put them in the tag division and under a Freebird style, as Max mentioned last week, but it also opens up to maybe one of them going for the DMC or the X Division title or the World title. So it opens up different avenues while keeping a formidable tag team in one way or another together. So I like that. After that was the one I just mentioned, Honor No More complaining. What happened? What happened? Well, you bitched at your main guy who you told to attack someone and you stalled. That's what happened. But I love these stairway shots with that man. Rogues Gallery to a T. It's beautiful shit. And obviously the Kingdom eventually moves on. They want their title shot. They earn their title shot. And it looks like they'll be getting it coming up at these tapings, the Dallas tapings. Does anyone find it strange that Good Brothers don't have the title in the second taping match? No, I don't find it strange. I'm gonna say that they lose. And I know that's probably what you're getting at, but I think the writing's on the wall for them to take a exit for a bit. And maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. I'll be more than happy for them to stick around. But right now, it seems like they're going to take a break. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for all parties involved. All right. But Honor No More here, telling they deserve the title shot. I love anytime you can get these three talking and complaining about something, especially with Maria there. You know, you guys already know how I feel about Miracle and Taven. So, you know, I'm hoping eventually they see that the leadership is a little rough with Honor No More and kind of maybe we get the Eddie's Fire song back eventually, right? Number 9, Killer Kelly defeating Savannah Evans. Thought this was a good match. Once again, the presentation for Killer Kelly is spot on. Makes her feel important, even if you have zero clue who she is. So happy she came in with a shtick. It's just typical Impact. Taking someone, finding the biggest positive of them, highlighting it, and going with it, man. Next up was number 10. I have here Rosemary, Taya, and Jessica. Rosemary complaining about obviously losing and then losing the titles, which Taya doesn't seem that upset about. She's got a new friend in Jessica. But they'll go after the titles eventually. You know, Max's opinion that he said that as I thought the inspiration were signed to go. And I know obviously different circumstances come into play here. But I think they were going to win and rock that title for the year or whatever change it was to break that record of ODB and Eric Young. I think that's the only, and I love both of those people, wrestlers, but that is the only smudge on these titles, I believe. So maybe that's Vext's new thing, right? But you need to keep these tag teams relevant. I still think Jessica, when the turn eventually happens, I hope, and we'll get her debut this week. But I'm hoping we get a Jessica and Susie, which turns into Havoc and Su Yung. That means then we have 3 formidable teams, not on top or not including. Taya does have a lot of titles. That's true. Glad they're pushing Kelly without repeating the Mashira. I agree on that as well. Critical Sting, Millard agrees. But yeah, I think those are the routes we're going. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm all over the place. But appreciate you guys lighting up the chat. Appreciate you guys rocking with us right here. If that's on twitch.tv/TNAIW make sure you hit that follow button. We're 5 behind. We're supposed to be at 105. You guys know that's our only our only number that matters. But no, it's all right, guys. Getting back to that, I like this. Hopefully it keeps Ragnarok together, like I said. Hopefully it gets Sue and Jessica in a team. And we have some teams that will keep giving Vext, if that's the route we're going, some roadblocks in the way to that year and some change. But we'll see. Next up was our Emergence Recap. Like this because Masha wasn't used on this episode. So it's good to recap that and what happened at Emergence, pushing that storyline along. Long day. But, yeah, it was good because it led right into the Gia and Jordan thing. So Jordan was able to kind of talk about that before getting interrupted by Vext. And then Mia comes to join the party and says, hey, I respect you. I owe you this handshake. Let's do this together. Keeping another viable tag team there. Loyal Hiveling, what's going on? Always love a Hiveling. Yeah, so we get Jordan and Mia going against Vext this coming week. Who's next for Vext? I think that's what goes after this because I don't believe Jordan and Mia win this. But it is a nice match to have again. So next up was the number 1 on our power rankings this week, and the X Division champion Mike Bailey defending this time against the formidable Chris Bay. Chris Bay was owed. If you're wondering, hey, Chris Bay hasn't won a match in forever. How's he getting this title shot? Well, he was owed a rematch from the the one time he held the belt prior, and he got it. But let's call it like it is. Chris Bay is a talent on a different level. And if creative's behind him and he's behind himself and focused on Impact or whatever it may be, you want to shoot this kid to the moon and keeping him relevant in this X Division scene is important because right now I think what's holding Mike Bailey back for me is he had that nice one with Trey. He had that little feud, right? You want it from me, I want it from you. We told the leg story, blah, blah, blah. Beautiful. Who is that next formidable opponent that wants the belt, that needs the belt, that they can bite into instead of just, oh, you want a multi-man match? Me and you are bound for glory. I want to see that. I want to see who it is. Is it Ace? Next up was a flashback of Christian defeating Ace, but I want to think about it a little bit different. And I haven't checked the roster page past checking for Tenille, but if Madman Fulton's still on there, it was really interesting. I know Victory Road's coming up, but it was interesting that they chose Christian defeating Ace Austin here with Madman Fulton playing a big role there. So a vital role there. Interesting. So is it time for Fulton to return? What's this do for Bullet Club? Ace hasn't gotten his rematch yet for X Division. That's true, right? Well, can't remember. Yeah, every time Mike Bailey does face somebody, he puts them over big time, man. Yeah, he pulls great matches out of everyone. Sometimes it's a little bit easier, but I don't think there's a blemish on his reign. Besides that, his feet didn't touch when he won the title in Ultimate X. All right. Next up was Meyer and Gujar, man. And here, I'll take the positive out of this. I say it all the time. Gujar respect. I think he's a good prospect. I understand why they're pushing him. And he very well might be the next DMC. But I'm happy it's around Myers, and I still want to get it to the point of U.S. Intercontinental, not TV European. But I think that's where it's gonna stay, guys. And Gujar, obviously being a big rep from India, us expanding in India. Gujar ain't done with Myers yet. Yes, that is. Fulton's long gone. No, I don't think so. I think he was doing a movie. So I think it's possible. But yeah. So I like the segment here. I thought the promo, or the back and forth went well. I thought Myers did a hell of a job selling it and seeming really great. Always I love Myers, what he's doing back with his little packages here, little packages, little TV spots that he gets. Man, says a lot with it. Yeah, Mike Gilbert pitched an idea for a Lucha title. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, man. But I oh, he is off. Fulton is off the roster page. Oh, well, great coincidence then. Exodus of ladies leaving Impact the last several months. Oh, we'll talk about that later. I don't think there's an exodus whatsoever. If you guys look at the depth of this, we'll get to that. Let's get to the main event depth first of all, because I think once again is if you actually look at it, we're not the depth is there. It's just the presentation of that depth. Okay. When I saw this match, I was very down on the main event scene. You guys know that. But when they present, the 6 guys in this. Now, Bandito obviously was an outsider, but a ROH champion. And Swan is a former champion. Sammy, a former champion. Moose is a special event. I loved how they put over each individual person in this match and made them all feel like they had a chance. Obviously, we got Eddie in the end here, which was to be expected. And then Eddie getting raised at the end. But I thought it was awesome, man. And do I find all of them as viable, can win the belt tomorrow guys? No. I think it would be a JBL situation, for instance. Something where you give them the belt and the belt makes them, compared to, them helping the belt or whatever. Lucha X Division. I'd rather keep the Lucha guys in the X Division because I think that Bailey could take a run from his money, and someone who's formidable outside of that could help. But yeah, so now do I think there's a lot of guys, and I know there's some questions in the Hot Topics, that's why I'm kind of avoiding a little bit of this subject, but I thought this was my match of the night. It kept changing throughout the show, but the 6-man elimination, from the presentation to the match itself, I thought it was really dope. And I also thought it continued the storyline with Macklin, Moose, and Sammy, which was nice. It made Bandito look insanely over, which he is, at least in the Impact Zone. Young cat, by the way, 27. So, hope we keep our eyes on him. But I thought this was really nice, man. And of course, Swan is another guy who's a world champion that they're trying to give his steam back to. I think Bandito Swan is now mandatory. I agree with that. But I thought this was a good show. It was 88 minutes of easy watching. I said coasting at the beginning. I still give it a B+, because there were some great matches in there. There was some great continuity going on there. But Bandito dancing to Swan, yeah. But once again, I know we're getting to Victory Road, to Bound for Glory, but it feels like we're holding back, like there's something else. So I'm interested to see what else happens on Impact from here on out. But let's see what you guys thought. Let me know in the chat what you guys in the chat thought. But as far as what I thought, I already told you, B+ for me. But as far as you guys on Twitter, what did you think? You guys rated it 65% with an A. And these weren't small numbers. I think this was our average, which is pretty cool. 65% going there. 24% for B. C going 8%. So that's up this week. I always respect the C's because I think look, people look for different things. People also watch their phone a lot while they're watching wrestling, which I see. I noticed. But front to back, I thought this was a good show that couldn't be a C, and definitely was not a D. If you caught it on there, I will continue to put a small D for the option. So if you click on it, at least you know. At least you know what you got. Thank you, Datila. I appreciate that. Tony Bots saying D. Yep, I'm still with Max is there on bots are the Ds. But once again, Impact Wrestling. That's what I say to the Ds. Impact Wrestling. All right. So I thought it was a good show. They continue to put good shows on. But I think it's fair to acknowledge, here as we get into Hot Topics, there are some comments and concerns. Loyal Hiveling 44, I voted for A. Very nice. Very nice. I think there's an argument for that. I think, once again, it's easy watching. Maybe sometimes we take it for granted. But at the same time, I don't know. I just feel like segment for segment, there's been more in previous. And maybe that is depth. I don't know. I feel like we have a lot of depth, and we'll get to that. I know Millard mentioned about the mass exodus for the women. I don't think that's the case. That best show in about a month, Lucha says. I think that's fair. You know. But I want to see what that next level, that next gear for us is. Okay? Is it, we'll talk about it. So actually, I'm not going to get too much into it. Let's start getting your guys' comments. And let's start actually with Millard. Here we go. Emergence was a great overall show with a couple of hiccups. I agree. We talked about that with the lighting and some weirdness with the Evans match. But I was worried about the crowd at first. Same. I saw, I forget his name, said about Chicago being the best crowd we've had all year. Good crowd, not Atlanta. Eventually it came around and they were good. I didn't like the DMC match, but the rest of the show was very good. On my picks, I went 8-1. VBD winning was the one he got wrong. Hope that Bandito and Ray Horse stick around for a while. We need more signings going forward. I agree with Bandito and Ray Horse. I think they slide right into two divisions that we really can use some help with, be it World, if that's, after Bound for Glory. If it's tag division together, or with Laredo Kid mentioned in there. I know he mentioned in an interview about him tagging with Bandito. You got the X division. So I think that kind of depth we need. We have a lot of talent. Are we utilizing that talent so they all feel, I don't know. They all feel relevant, But I think we need to push in the gear. We'll see where Bound for Glory goes. I'm hoping we don't just get a bunch of multi-man matches leading up to it. I want some drama. I want some depth. I want some meat on the bones going to Bound for Glory. But I think a few signings here and there would not hurt the cause. I don't know if it needs to be in the Knockouts division. We'll go more in the depth charts. But look, Madison and Tenille. Actually, I think someone actually has that on here. Perfect. Here we go. Best Side 92. So Dashwood isn't on the roster page anymore. If she did leave, who should they bring in from the Knockouts tag division? Look, I think the writing on the wall for Tenille was Madison exiting. You could even say it was Caleb exiting, right? For people's investments, unfortunately, in the influence. It's funny how many people disrespect Madison and Tenille when they're on our TVs. But that narrative's still there, that bias is still there. But while she was in here, I thought she had an enjoyable stint. I thought this one had more cohesion to it. I thought I liked what she did with Caleb, and then eventually the influence altogether. But what was she going to do? Was she going to stick around and be with Giselle? No, I don't think that was the fit there. So I don't think we should bring in talent because Tenille left. I think if we should have started looking, if we're looking for more depth there when Madison left or the inspiration left. But what I think they did was shift the goal here, which I think is good. You have Vexed, you have Ragnarok, you have Savannah and Evans, who haven't really even looked into the potential of that tag team. It's funny because you look elsewhere, even the men's tag teams don't have that amount of depth in a lot of companies. Look, we could sit here and say all the tag team men's that we have here, and the women's maybe obviously 3 to 4 at the most if we get Sue and Havoc. So I get that there. But when you have 88 minutes of television, you have to pay 2 people to be one commodity, or depth to a division that already has 3 people in front of you. Meanwhile, having a Knockouts division that's taking away super veterans and former Knockouts champions, and if it is Tasha and Savannah, It's definitely Taya and Rosemary, former champions. So obviously Chelsea and Deonna, former champions. You're taking away if it's Sue and Havoc, former champions. So now you're leaving this division up to Jordan, who needs that good run into her to be that foundation piece, which I think they're giving her. They're giving Mia the chance to shine. They're giving Masha the chance to rise. Killer Kelly the chance to rise. I don't think the depth's that bad, guys. I think it was strategic planning on shifting these people that are former Knockouts champions that could come out of this division and challenge right away. And doing something for the Knockouts that are moving up in the card. Giselle included. I forgot her. So I don't think the depth for either division is where we need to be freaking out right now. I think if any division, and I know it's funny because they're both rated higher, the world title and the X division, the tag just needs a little more defining. Look, you have Decay. Taylor Wilde, she's still signed. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm kind of interested if Josh needs some help. It would be nice to put a bunch of Canadians together. I think, Gary, you mentioned that before as well. But yeah, I think there's other places that we need some talent to be shown in a better light, a more high-profile light, and a more redefining, some polishing. Look, do we have potential tag teams? We have Decay, who, like I said, is kind of doing craziness for the men's tag division. Are the Rascals coming back? Right? We have Motor City and now Time Machine. We have VBD. We have Bullet Club in one fashion or another. There are tag teams. Could there be more? Hell yeah. Would I have loved if both the Good Brothers stayed or do stay and the Briscoes did stay? Fuck yeah. We're at. And at the same time, the people we're losing that we're saying are huge deals, and that's no offense to them, are people that we take for granted on the day-to-day that we were okay if someone wanted to take them if they left on our terms, right? If we release them, it's a different story. But my point with that is their salaries, the cost of them, in a positive spin, could go into some names here. Go into some names. And I think, and I know I threw out some craziness, and we'll get to it in a second, but I think there's some names out there that still can make a difference, a big difference in impact. Next up, I have two back-to-back, because this kind of both have the same thing I was talking about. I threw about the Wyatt thing based on the Gail. Once again, if you didn't see it at the beginning, thank you again to the shout-out from Gail, the opening video, the knockout of knockouts, and Io for securing that, man. Pretty dope. But he's saying here, I know Gail was talking about in the interview, I said Wyatt maybe, because it said change, the face of Impact, something different they haven't done, someone who affected that many things. I thought it could be the presentation of and the introduction of a Wyatt kind of vibe with him coming in. But it seems Donald Hill as well in the Doll 99 kind of see Gail maybe making that about maybe not a new wrestler, but maybe her comment as they plan on freshening up the look, as we talked about the Impact survey, maybe a new title, but just changing the presentation. And we talked about the stage. I think the rollout of this new branding will be a good thing for Impact. You can, touch up some things. You can add to the stage, the presentation, can make us the ECW of this era, because that's what we are, guys. That's what we are. But maybe it's not a name. I would like to be optimistic and hope for the latter, but if it's not, strategic signing has been their key, and I think there's some names out there that aren't the Wyatt level that could still be a big difference. And another mention about us being on cable would help a whole lot. We'll get to that in a little bit about cable and how I actually prefer them. Would you take Jeff Jarrett back after apparently he's done with WWE? Yeah, he's done again, man. He's done again in WWE. It's unfortunate. I was hoping he would either be there for Slammiversary. So I don't know. It looks like the bridges are mended, the fences are mended, whatever the hell the term is. But who knows? I'm not backstage. Don't care to know. Like the possibility of Jeff just sliding in and guitar smashing somebody randomly. So we'll see. I'm shocked that no one has signed Shane Taylor. I see a couple people saying that. Critical Sting, Parkside there. Yeah, man. I think I need to do some more research. I don't know. I keep getting mixed vibes out there in the rest of the community about Shane Taylor. So we'll see. I have to do some research. Self-admittedly, I kind of went back on ROH watching towards the end. But I'll have to do some research. All right, next up, buddy Chris Saletta here is saying, I see Ospreay lost to Okada. Some say maybe it was bound to happen. Question is, what's next for him? Could Ospreay look for golden glory elsewhere? New Japan coming back to the States in end of October, just a thought. Imagine that. Imagine Eddie beats Eddie Edwards. Imagine Josh beats Eddie Edwards. Did I say it wrong? And Will Ospreay comes out. Wouldn't that be some shit? That'd be nice, right? Kind of like, what was it? Sammy and Kenny and then Jay came out. Yeah, let me know, guys, about Shane Taylor. I thought he was good for the little I checked out when I would catch ROH, but then got the research I did. Everyone seemed to be, but people have their own opinions. Next up, Doll 99 again. Really good episode this week. Some really sick matches. Although I didn't like Heath defeating Kenny. Same. Thought Swan and Bandito were by far the best in main event match. Yeah, I thought the crowd thought that as well. Of course, they're going to cheer the face. But it would have been new and fresh. Eddie winning was just a yawn. I think the booking of H&M has been inconsistent, and Eddie has not been the best heel in his own faction. That's fair. I think the inconsistency, a part of that is AEW starting ROH. Some people flirting with leaving. Tony flirting with stealing people. Or I won't say stealing. Reaching out to people. So I think that, as they're here and it looks like they're going to get gold, the booking for them could be more consistent. Of course, Taven, to me, is the best heel in that group. So I'm with you there. But it seems like Impact are relying on wrestlers that have already won the Impact title for these big pay-per-view main event matches. Yeah, and that's my only gripe. I let it pass with EY because I think he's the antithesis of everything TNA has been, Impact has been. At the same time, now we're going to Bound for Glory, and we got a match, a 6-man eliminator. Yay, he won. Now he's the thing. For me, I want that blood feud. I want someone who wants the title more than a month from getting his shot. And I'm sure Eddie did, but that wasn't the focus. There's no hate there heading into one of these big ones. And I think the easy booking, for lack of a better term, is just finding someone who's already been a champion so they're formidable. See Tessa in here. Man, love if Tessa came back, to be honest with you. And because we're the company that could take a swing on the I don't want to say disenfranchised, but because that'd be that's the wrong term, but the kind of down on their luck. All right, so we got that one. Let's keep going here. Michael Cheney, thank you for your comment. I think in place of Victory Road, they should do Homecoming in the mixed tag team tournament. Do you think this is a good idea? As far as timing, 2 weeks before Bound for Glory, this was one of my big gripes. Victory Road's boom, boom, right? So you're not going to get matches that have payoffs that ruin the payoffs of Bound for Glory. So something like that would be a perfect time to create another homecoming king and queen. I loved it. I think Lucha, you were there as well. That was a great time. And I think Impact has the depth to put a singles man and a singles woman in a team and do that. I don't know if they will. I don't know how that would play into the build for Bound for Glory. I think there's other ways you could do that without giving away the matches of Bound for Glory. But I would be interested in that coming back. Do I think it's a good idea for Victory Road? I'm not against it. Not against it. All right. Thank you for your comment, by the way. Next up, our buddy Gary, who's in the chat. There you go. Boy, would I love to see the Inspiration versus Vexed. Yes. Look, man, I said it. They took the reins of what Inspiration should have been, could have been. If it weren't the allure of outside projects. So would I welcome back? Yeah, of course. I don't. I'm always like, even with the Chelsea Green thing. I think there was a point where people were, oh, would you welcome him back? Of course, man. Bygones are bygones. If you could add to the product and you're not a nuisance, come on in. But yeah, I would love to see this match. Next up, I think this. No, we got one more after this. Bandito versus Josh sounds more like a Bound for Glory title match that fans would want to see. I think you already said that. Bay versus Bailey could have been saved for the next Impact Plus next month. Yeah, I mean, I guess. But once again, if Bailey's going to be in a feud, which I hope he is, some kind of deep feud for this title for Bound for Glory, most likely beat Ultimate X. Let's be honest. But if it's not, if it's a feud for this title, maybe 2 to 3 formidable opponents would be dope. Maybe like a deep, eliminator or something. But I don't know if you have him have a big match there and then. Whatever. After a really good show, Emergence, and a really good episode this week, viewership only got 92,000. I do really not know what Impact could do to get more fans to tune in, since they are putting on really good quality shows each week. All right, so let's get to that. You guys know my stance on ratings. Ratings in this world, in this era, that we prioritize the Nielsen ratings, to me, is still, if it blows my fucking mind. Be real, okay? I worked in TV enough to know the writing on the wall here. Does it matter to the corporate elite who do invest, the big pharma of the world, and all those other things that have the money? Sure. Would Impact love to get that based on the Nielsen ratings, right? If they have bigger ratings, they get that? Sure. But that's not the be-all, end-all anymore. Okay? There are different ways to up your revenue stream, to up your people's consumption of your product. Impact is on a television station that has X amount of reach, right? I don't think they should leave. I don't, because there's safety there. What happens? You sign a 2-year contract, they tell you to kick rocks, and now you're back to Access TV. Is it worth the chance? Possibly. But what Anthem seems to be doing, especially with their purchases of Gravitas and all that, is expanding their brands, expanding their reach. And at the end of the day, even if we had millions and millions more million more homes, the Nielsen ratings have, and I'm I got to get back into doing this. Was it 40,000, 14,000, whatever boxes? I don't want to misspeak. I've done a whole episode on this fucking thing. But the amount of boxes do not represent all of America. All of the little boxes that mark that they watch it during the Nielsen ratings time doesn't mark for also the point of the demo is no longer the money demo. The money demo is now the older, because that's who has the money in this world. So certain advertisers understand that, or certain rating systems seem to be integrating that. But there's also that whole spin, and I know I'm going all over. I'm trying to read your guys' stuff as well. But my point is the ratings are just a small figment of this really weird dynamic that the Twitter universe argues over in wrestling sheets. If they knew TV and what actually matters to whatever, they would understand that the company is growing in other ways. Okay? People are still going to the shows. Are they going by the millions? No. Of course. Would they want to grow that overnight? Of course. But they're self-sustaining and growing on their own terms. Okay? So, once again, do the ratings matter? Sure. Does the product they keep putting out there that they can show to other investors and advertisers matter? Yes. Okay. And I don't think you guys should be really basing the success or failure of Impact Wrestling off of a Nielsen rating that just hasn't been updated to fit the modern era. Not only from demo rating and what they look at, but also the consumption rate. There are people consuming the product if they want to admit it or not. Their YouTube channel continues to grow. Their Twitter channel or handle continues to grow. They're getting other things. Here's the next thing. Let's get into that. We put this out there. Impact Wrestling extending partnership with Eurosport India. India continues to grow. Getting an all-new Hindi language series. And I won't fuck up the saying on that. So if anyone could pronounce that correctly, more power to you. So we have markets that love Impact Wrestling. To think that the 40 whatever boxes it is in Nielsen Ratings in just America is all that matters to a company is so American. It's so American. There are other ways to judge this. And this dick swinging contest of demographic, oh, it's below 100. Guys, it doesn't matter. We're expanding there. And we're getting action figures. These are the things you guys want to look for. Are they spending their money and time and efforts into producing new products for you guys, for the fan base? Is the product good? Yes. Are they upgrading the merch? Yes. Are they upgrading the travel and the different places and venues they go to? I think so, yes. Once again, I say this, and it doesn't mean that we're in the best position. Okay? Not the best. But at the same time, there was a time where we couldn't have 3 people on commentary. Okay? They had to pass around the headset and microphone. There was a time where we were running from Josh Matthews' phone. Baby steps, guys. It might not be as fast in this. We are one step closer to a video game. Trust me, we are one step closer to a video game. There are just so many different things that really represent how Impact is doing compared to just one little blurb from a 100-year-old system that at the end of the day is not, it's not, what is that called? It doesn't move the needle. There we go. Does it move the needle in money? Of course. Once again, I'm not saying that ratings don't matter. You can make money off ratings. You can. But even the top shows are having a hard time staying on their networks. There's always a cheaper product out there. So what Impact needs to do is stay on their network, expand that, and eventually, if they can maybe secure a deal, according to Brian Hemmer, their channel searching, but that's just little info. Well, here's the thing, and that's what I'm getting to, is if a deal comes around, well, another problem, Geoff, is the Access TV and Pursuit channel always seem to mess up with getting the show right now. Well, that is an issue. If you can't get your ducks in a row in your own home, yeah. That is an issue. But I think if you could get a deal where you're still making money off your YouTube, you're still making money off your Impact Plus, you're making money off of people that do watch Access TV, and then you could sell the rights, maybe first air rights or whatever it may be, to a streaming service or platform or another thing, then that's added money. You can't argue with that. But I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep the same feeling, the same vibe, no matter what. To me, Nielsen ratings just don't matter. I like the show because I like the show. So it's also not gonna make me love Impact more or less based on how many people watch it. But at the same time, we have to take a step back from the narrative that's created of ratings matter, ratings matter, ratings matter. Oh, my team gets better ratings. Watch slow burn. There's nothing wrong with a slow burn. Let them keep putting out good product. Let's keep watching. Survival and TV. Thank you, IO. Survival and TV land is very difficult. It's easier now when you're building your own platform. Watch how many comedians put their stuff on their own platforms now instead of putting it on Netflix. Watch how many movies are more wow, I'm in the fucking industry. I don't even know the damn independently created and putting on their own stuff instead of the days are coming, guys. You just got to follow it. Just follow the breadcrumbs. All right? So self-sufficient, being on TV, Access TV, if they're messing up, yes, they need to figure that out. But stability and growth. Look, we got the 4 new action figures coming out. Moose, Jordan Grace. I love that they're from a different event. Like each one, I think, yeah, you can see Slammiversary 2021, or Hard to Kill, whatever it is. Yeah, that's pretty dope. But it's 4 of our foundation pieces in Moose, the special attraction that is Moose. Eddie Edwards, the number 1 contender. Deonna, the tag team champion. And Jordynne Grace, the world champion. I think it's dope. And I will buy one of each. Now, does that mean Impact is where they should be and this is where we should settle and be complacent? No, I don't agree on that. And that's not what I mean to suggest. But I think if we keep doing what I always recommend we do, which is include, bring more people. Remember Pursuit on Friday nights at 10. I do. And it was the drizzling shits. But keep including, keep growing this Impact Wrestling community. No more tribalism. I don't understand with a group so small, Impact Wrestling fandom, that we don't include everybody. Guys, go watch everyone else's shows. Go grow everyone else's numbers. Grow Impact's numbers. Grow Impact Wrestling. Okay? We need to do our part. At the same time, Impact needs to do their part. If it's get the channel right, it's get the channel right. But we're never going to be happy arguing. Because look, do you think WWE fans or AEW fans are happy arguing Nielsen ratings every week? No. Does it affect their day instead of watching the product because they can't defend the product? They have to go off the ratings? They do. And this is pro wrestling, unbiased, transparent, and honest. I would say the same things about us. Because we're going to get to a point where the ratings do grow. We're going to continue to grow. We're 20 years into this. 18 Bound for Glories we're coming up on. Always a hot season towards the fall and winter. So Impact's just got to keep doing their shit. Keep pushing the product. And also keep looking. Keep shopping. Keep your options open. There are so many ways to do when it comes to TV rights now and first airs and replay and .03 or the 3 days. And there's ways to work in that. And yes, does it cut into rights fees and stuff? Sure. But what are they looking for? They looking for a little bit more to add a new spit shine to Impact or bring in some new talent? What are they looking for? They're very good about getting to the black, spending it, getting back to the black. Do we wish it could be quicker? Yeah, of course. But, either way, we're headed to Bound for Glory. And I'm stoked, guys. I'm stoked. I want to know what you guys are looking forward to. Obviously, one of the things I didn't get to mention, we'll talk about depth charts more detail next week. If it's the Impact Zone or not, Max should be back, so we'll be good to go. But when it comes to that, with the depth charts and what we have, sometimes when you put, once again, Moose, Sammy, these people that we've mentioned that were in the top, in that 6 contenders that kind of are doing their own thing, these are guys who should be at the top of our card. When you put on banger of pay-per-view shows, Impact Plus specials, you have a very deep 1 to 9, 1 to 10, whatever matches, 1 to 8, plus 2 pre-show matches. The whole thing is stacked. So some of these divisions, the world they feel the repercussion of still bangers, right? But I think when you have a match of Macklin, Moose, and Sammy in your undercard or your wherever they're placed at Slammiversary, it was undercard Moose and him, right? And then same with this last one. There's talent there. It's just spread out, man. It's really spread out, and I'm interested in seeing what happens from here on out. Okay. But I'm watching. It's just weird. What we got here in Impact? You'll let wrestlers promote the shows. Being BFG being on a Friday, when it does strike me as odd. Yeah. I don't think it's odd. I think it's a matter of situation, timing, what other shows doing and what we're doing. I don't know how I feel about the Friday thing. It's kind of cool because you get Thursday and then you get Friday, right? Boom, boom. But I like Thursday and Sunday, and I was okay with Thursday and Saturday, but yeah, let's see what the Road to Bound for Glory does. Okay, let's see what else they keep. Impact could squeeze a decent trios. Lucha, you're killing me here. Yeah, we have a lot of trios, but we need those trios for some reason need to go into that tag division depth. No one notices it when it comes to tag division depth, but trios, we got enough for trios, But yeah, let's see what the Road to Bound for Glory brings. Let's see the drama it builds. Let's see what's going on there. We obviously have a great show coming up. Let's get to that. This is the end, my friends. We have Time Machine versus VBD, Mia and Jordan versus Vex, Jessica debut. So we got some things going on. We got 7 Fridays, I think it was, till Bound for Glory. Now we're down to 6 or 5. Yeah, T. Hughes 1990. That's the Do It pay-per-view on Saturday. Yeah. It's and then also has to do with the tapings they do. Right now, when they do that live show taping, it has to be back to back, and Sunday, Monday is a little bit harder than a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, as I was saying, guys, I want to hear what you guys want for the Road to Bound for Glory. Go to ImpactWrestling.com. Look at the roster page, and let me see your card. Let's talk about that. Let's bring them to the table next week. Let's do a pure fantasy, no spoilers, Bound for Glory fantasy booking with what we have on the roster. Let's see that. Let's see if you could come up with something interesting. I want 8 to 9 matches. Let's see what we all come up with. Obviously, we can't change the main event, but I think we'll be pleasantly surprised when we see where you're literally tweaking out, trying to find a place for some of the talent we have, so they're not left at catering. Doesn't mean I don't want more talent, but I think we have a lot more depth than we give Impact credit for. But let's check that out. Let's do that rather. Let's check out ImpactWrestling.com. Let's look at the roster we have, and also, hey, a few new names wouldn't hurt. And then also, if this is true, do some of the matches on Twitter. Just bring them here. Bring them whatever you want to do. Tag us in it at TNAIWChannel. Tag us in your cards. Right under the advertisement for this when it inevitably comes out. Whatever you want to do. Bring it to the chat next week. But, yeah, guys. Looking forward to it. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the love for Impact Wrestling. Next week, we'll have another intro from awesome Impact talent. Have another sign for you that I'll be the annoying guy. Section F1, Seat 6. Holding my dumb signs. Shout out to Trey for the love. Shout out to Gail Kim as well for the opening there. Io for securing that. You guys in the chat that always kill it. Everyone who watches on twitch.tv/TNAIW channel. Everyone that listens to me go on and on. Even when I'm spacing on Treehouse Land. Check out Impact this week. Love you guys. Once again, Lucha says he'll DM me my card. Yeah, DM me the card. Send it to me. However you guys want to do. We'll look at it. I want to see what you guys think, man. I think we could come up with some fun shit. See everyone else's side of what they think's exciting. Just because I say that I think there's a lot of depth that maybe could be utilized in different ways doesn't mean you guys see the same thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's opinion is different. Once again, that's what this community is about inviting everybody, growing it, growing Impact in the process. Speaking of Treehouse Lucha, Monday, right? Meeting. Yes, sir. Another season of that coming out. Some great things, including, I won't say the team, but you guys know, because I don't want to get shit on by you guys. I always like the lesser brands. I understand. But thanks for rocking with me, guys. We'll see you next week. Don't want to leave, but we gotta go. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.